Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I am going to try to pronounce this and then I'll tell you what it is. This is another recipe. I've made it one way, but I'm going to be making it another way. Sopa de albóndigas, translated means meatball soup. This is out of my Spain and Portuguese cookbook, which is a lot different than the one I got out of my health food. So as you can see, there are different ways of making this. They said this soup is so thick and so rich, they should call it a stew instead, but they don't, okay? And you'll find this recipe, they say all over Spain now. You can make it 50 beef and 50 pork. I didn't have enough pork to do that, so I'm making mine 100% beef. We're talking 3/4 of a pound. I'm defrosting my breadcrumbs right now because I stuck them in the freezer because they're homemade and they will go bad. Now, if you don't want to do pork and beef, you can do lamb and pork or lamb and beef. You can go in different directions, as you can see, in any way you wish, all right? Now, they want 1/3 of a cup of grated yellow onion, grated. So I got the biggest onion I've got because I know when I start grating, I'm not gonna get 1/3 of a cup. This one doesn't even feel that ripe either, or overripe. Oh, it's good. Let's see. I'm gonna hold that. I'm just peeling it right now. I'm not doing anything you don't already know. I've been looking at this recipe for a while. I got a recipe that needed 2 pounds or 2.5 pounds of lamb, and now I can't find the recipe. That's what happens when you get a lot of recipes and you see a lot of good ones. You sit there and say, where did I put it? You can't remember where you found it. And yes, I mark my cookbooks too. I learned that's the safest way to keep people from taking your cookbooks. I didn't mark them before, and people would take my cookbooks when they came. Lovely girlfriends who steal recipes. They take the whole book instead of a recipe and asking me for the recipe. All right, we're gonna start grating. I do not know how much onion, but we need 1/3 of a cup of grated onion. So have a field day. I'm gonna be using that. I'm not using that side, it'll take me forever. So I'm gonna continue grating this. And I'll let you grate yours and I'll be back. All right, I changed my mind. Use this side, it's better. Okay, I got 1/3 of a cup of grated onion. Now, before you attempt to do this, leave this end intact. If you cut both ends and peel it, it's gonna fall apart when you try to grater it. So the part where the leaves come out of, clip that, take the skin off. Leave that intact and grate. It'll hold it better together for you. I'm gonna be crying. I better not want anything else grated. Oh, God. Okay, let's see what they want next on this list. Well, I can't give you the breadcrumbs, they're being cared for right now. We need 3 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley. Oh, God. I got to see my girlfriend at the store. I've been missing her for almost 3 weeks. She said, I was looking for you. I said, I was looking for you too. I couldn't find you every time I turned around. She was off some days when I was in the store, and then one day I didn't go because the weather was bad and I didn't have the money to go shopping. Yeah, I've been there too. just chopping. And my nose is running from that lovely onion. Now, I have recipes, and people make things different from their country, which gives things different flavors. That's why sometimes you think I'm repeating myself, and it's actually just a different way somebody else makes it. And it's interesting, because you never know. And that's how I look at it. Those are the dishes in the sink you hear banging because they're metal against metal. Okay. Okay, let's see what's next. They want 1 clove finely minced. And I've already explained to you what mincing means, so I'm sure you'll do a very good job mincing yours. Oh, God. Large garlic now. So when I stick my breadcrumbs from homemade bread in the freezer, I usually have to defrost them, so I put them in a 225-degree oven to defrost them and get the ice off of them. Okay, the chickpeas are cooking, which I'll need for the soup as well. Okay, bring those back up to cooking. But that's when we put the soup together. Right now we're making the meatballs. They're getting there in a hurry. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have measuring spoons. So you can see these are going to be very flavorful. This is a very hearty soup for the kind of weather that we're having. So I'm content. It's a high protein. I'm also going to serve a salad and a sourdough, a sunflower, what was that one I made? A Durham sunflower with soy bread. That's the one I'm going to serve with. So I know there's a lot of protein in it. And cumin, you need a half a teaspoon of cumin. Cool. You want a teaspoon of salt in this. Teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, now I have to wait for my breadcrumbs just a bit, and I'll be back. Okay, we're going to add a half a cup of breadcrumbs. Mine are defrosted. Just have to get them out. Okay. We're going to add 1 egg to this. See how weak these eggshells are? They used to be so hard before. We really had to hit them hard. Now eggshells are like our bones. I always talk about that. So you can see how weak the eggshells are. Now we're going to mix this up. We're going to cover this and put it in the refrigerator for a bit. We'll be getting the other stuff ready after. Just put some saran wrap over it, or if you have a container with a lid, you can do that. But you're just going to mix this up thoroughly. And as you see, it's very moist. This into a smaller container. Once it's thoroughly mixed, make sure it's thoroughly mixed, because you just don't want your seasonings in one area. That's why they tell you to mix it really thoroughly. But they don't want you to mash it together, because then it gets tough. The thing is to make sure it stays moist and tender. That's why I'm just using my fingers. Not squeezing it like crazy. Now, if you're not going to use a can of the garbanzo beans, you're going to get you need a cup of them. So I put a half a cup on to cook, which should give me just about a cup for when we put the soup together. Now, I'm going to put that in a smaller bowl, I think. Okay, so get saran wrap, cover it up, or if you have a small container that can fit into the refrigerator with a lid, put it in. We're going to leave it at least an hour, maybe longer, and then I will be in part 2 and we'll put this whole thing together, because these seasonings have to mingle, and that's the whole object of this step that we're going to do. If you leave it out, you'll notice you don't get the full flavor that you want. This is why on some recipes you'll see, like the liver yesterday, it said 4 to 8 hours. We had it at 4 hours, and my sons and I agreed 8 hours would have given it much better flavor. I mean, the wine was throughout it, but it would have been a much stronger wine flavor if I had let it sit 8 hours. So when they say to set it, it's to bring those flavors together so they're not mixed up. So that's what we're going to do with this one as well, so you get that full flavor in each meatball that you have. Okay, so I'll see you then. Okay, you need 2 cups of peeled, seeded tomatoes, all right? And they're going to be chopped as well. So for the people who can already know how to do this, But for those who do not can, I'm going to show you how to do this. On this end of the tomato, not this end, you put an X. All right? You're going to put a pot of water on to boil because you're going to put the tomatoes in there. You know, my knives are sharp. I should be more careful than touching the blade like that. I'll cut my finger. What this is going to do is actually help the skin separate. I don't know if that's 2 cups. So we're waiting for the water to come to a boil. And then we're going to put these in. Now you're going to need a bowl with very cold water. So this is the bowl. I'm going to put it in the sink, and when the tomatoes show signs that they're getting ready to be peeled, I'm going to sit there and put ice cold as I can get it from the faucet. Well, it's winter, it's pretty cold, so I don't have to. In the summer, I have to add some ice cubes because the water isn't as cold as it should be. And you drop them from the hot water into here, and you will see the skin from the contraction of the heat expanding and then the cold pulling in. It separates that skin from your tomatoes, okay? Then what you're going to do when we get past that point, you take the tomatoes out and you peel them. You're going to cut this little section out because it doesn't break down real easy. To me, it doesn't bother me, but a lot of people like it off, so I'm going to do it to show you. Only if I'm canning tomatoes will I cut it off, or if I'm making tomato sauce, because it doesn't blend up. But if it's raw and in a salad, I'll leave it. I have no problems with that. I eat them. That farmer, every time we went by, we got tomatoes from that guy. Free! Wait, my girlfriend, oh my God, Renee and I, we demolished those things. They were so good. He always gave us big tomatoes. We practically had a meal out of it. My mother didn't have to worry about us too much eating. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. Right now I'm waiting for that water to boil. You're going to need a slotted spoon because I do not want you to burn your fingers trying to get them out. So you'll need a slotted spoon. Make sure that you can drain it off. All right, as soon as the water boils, I'll show you. Okay, you see it boiling? You're going to put your tomatoes in. I'm going to let you watch this so you can actually learn. These are for people who do not can. People who can have to do this. So they're very well aware of it, so I don't have to show them. This is what we're going to do. My tomatoes are cold. They just came out of the refrigerator. Now I'm going to fill this bowl up that I told you in the sink with some really, really cold water. Just letting the water get ice. And you will actually see these things peel. You'll see the skin coming off. So you're just going to be watching it, but I want you to see exactly how you do this. Let's see, one tomato is already starting to peel. This one right here. I'll show you how it looks. It's just starting. See how that skin is peeling? It's just about ready to come out. The other ones have it. I'll even show you an easier way of also seeding. Okay. See how it's cracking here too? Right there. Now I'm going to put it in the cold water. I'll add another tomato in there. And I'll be ready now. I'm going to move you over to where you can see this part. You're going to see the mess in the house. Look how the skin's coming off, see? That's how you peel a tomato. Now, these tomatoes peelings, all right, I'm done peeling this. I'll show you how to seed it. Let me put the peelings over here. Now, if you want an extra flavor of tomatoes in your sauces and stuff, now, let me first show you this. Here's the top, here's the bottom. We're going to cut it this way. You know why? It opens up where the seeds are, and you squeeze it. You could actually stick your finger in there and just pull the seeds out. It's just that easy. See? Very easy. I got to get my tomatoes. Hold on. No, you haven't. You haven't. You haven't. You're getting there. Then you're going to sit there and cut this little piece off right here. Because that's not going to break down at all. Now what you can do with the peelings is dehydrate them and add them to your season collection, which I have some already done. And you throw them into your herb blender and just cook them. I mean, well, no, blend them up and then put them in a jar. And that's how you can make your own seasoning. Tomato seasoning. And I do sometimes add it to my herbs just to change the flavoring around. And if I'm making a tomato sauce, I can add a teaspoon or two and it gives a good flavor. So there's a lot that you can do. Okay, my tomatoes are calling me. Nope. You're getting there. Took 2 out, add 2. So you can dehydrate these and use them. You know, I'm not using those because I already have some. So there's no reason for me to take it right now. So see, there's not really a lot of waste when you can. This is what women did all the time. And they stepped away from the kitchen. Jane Fonda was the one who really started that. I don't think she could cook. And she walked away. She didn't like being a woman. She didn't like working with somebody. She did a lot of wrong things. She caused a lot of veterans to get hurt and killed. That's why she's not loved too much. Just slice them up. We need 2 cups of this. Like I said, I'm old enough to remember what she did. I don't think I saw a film that she did one time, and after she did that, I never watched her again. If she was in a film, no matter how bad I wanted to see it, I wouldn't watch it. She supported the enemies of the United States. Anybody who supports the enemies of the United States are not cool. You can disagree with your country. That I agree. I do have issues with my country at times. I'm gonna need some more tomatoes. But you just never know, you know. But if you're an enemy of this, as they call the enemy of the state, you're not going to get any support from me in any way. That's why she went to doing exercises and stuff, because that was the only way she could make money, because of what she did. People don't know that about her. And she figured she could win the women over, saying, we're all the same, you know. She went to them to where she could go for help, because the men served the country and they know what she did. And as they said, there was no love lost. So the vets wouldn't give her the time of day. God, this one's hot. If your water gets too warm from dropping the tomatoes into it, by all means, throw it out and get more cold water. See, I remember my grandmother doing stuff like this. I know a lot of young women want to go back to canning and caring for their families. They don't want to be in the workforce. Yeah, I got enough tomatoes. The reason they want you to de-seed in some recipes, so it's not so watery, is the seeds sit in that fluid. Yeah, these last two will be just fine. When you're doing pounds of these, believe you me, you have a mess in your kitchen. Matter of fact, I want to make some tomato sauce and can it. Tomatoes were expensive the other week. They were 99 cents, so I bought 15 pounds because I had a lot of recipes that needed diced tomatoes. And I figured following week they'd probably still be on sale, but they weren't. They were up by a whole $1. So I said, God, I can't even do that. It's been hard. I'm not going to say it hasn't been. It's been very difficult. to sit there and make ends meet. That's not, yeah, that's skin, okay. So that's how you do tomatoes. We still have to wait for the meat, and I'll be back. Okay, you're gonna need 1 cup of diced tomatoes. Peeled, she said, but I'm not gonna peel mine because I'm gonna make mine more nutritious, okay? You're getting ready to fall, that's why I'm a little concerned. Okay, so I have potatoes here. I scrubbed the skin, and you're gonna dice this. Okay. If you want diced, I can dice pretty small too. Now, they said you need a rich stock for this. What I will be using is my vegetable stock, and I will also be using my bone broth to get that rich flavor that I am looking for. I'm going to put the potatoes in right over here while I finish them up. But it's going to be 1 cup of potatoes. I think I'm going to be a little over a cup, but I'm fine with that. Trying to get the potatoes so they're straight. So whatever you have, they don't tell you which one to use. They just say, you know, have a good rich one for this soup. So you have to have a really good one. If you don't, it's going to be a little on the flat side. That's why I'm using the bone broth and the vegetable one. I've used them together and have gotten excellent results. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's a cup. I don't need this potato. All right, you need 2 tablespoons, and they say in a large pot, so I'm going to use my Dutch oven. All right, move you over here. And we'll heat it up. Do not heat a Dutch oven up unless you have oil, butter, lard, or something in it. You will damage your pot. Now, I've got to see, what am I going to be putting in this first that you want me to do? Oh, you want 1 onion chopped. Okay, I can do that while that's heating up. I'm just chopping it behind you. And you know how to chop an onion. Now I'll turn the heat up. I got into doing the potatoes and forgot about the other pot. Now we're going to saute these onions a bit, and then we're going to be adding a lot of stuff into this, and then we'll start making the meatballs. How much saffron? 1/4 teaspoon of threads. Okay. We are going to need 1/4 teaspoon of saffron crushed. Listen, these little things are very expensive, okay? I'm going to tell you, but they do excellent flavor for what you're making. When they call for it, you can taste the difference if you don't have it. So we just have to wait a bit for it to heat up. You'll see you know when it's hot, the oil will be like a shimmer going on it, and that's how you'll know. And that's what I'm looking for, the shimmer. So then when you throw it in, your vegetables and stuff, they start sauteing right away. So see, there's a difference. When you have oil, you're heating it up and you throw the seasonings in first. That's called blooming because you're releasing the oils of those seasonings, their oil and flavor into that oil, so it'll spread throughout the food. But when you saute is when you're using the vegetables and you're adding them into the oil. And that's how you can tell the difference. See, when you get that shimmer, this is exactly, you'll actually hear them starting to cook when they hit it. Now they want us to strain the chipped peas, but I'm going to save the water the chipped peas to cook them because I cook them in vegetable stock. And I will add them into here next time. Turn it down to medium. I used to have cast iron and Dutch ovens, and just a few stainless steel. I remember they came out with one that was lighter weight than this one, and they had flower designs, blue designs on the outside. Corningware. I was trying to remember. I don't even see that anymore. I used to have Corningware too. My girlfriend has. I said, "Oh my God, you still have Corningware?" She said, "Yes, it was my mother's, and I'm holding on to it." I said, "Okay." I could see that. I wouldn't disagree with her on that. Now let's see. What do they want me to add in here? Okay. Like I said, they want 1/4 teaspoon of saffron crushed. . 1 potatoes. And what the tomatoes. Let me stir it around. And I'll see what else we have to do. And what else do they want in here? Okay, I did potatoes and stalks. Okay, chip peas. That's a cup of chip peas, maybe a little more, I'm not sure. And then we're going to add the stock. I'll see how much stock we need, and I'll let you know. We need 6 cups of a flavorful stock, okay? Well, I'm going to use this. I'm not going to waste the water they cooked in. And the vegetable stock. That's 2 cups. That's 4. What are those particles? That's from the meat and the vegetables and stuff. I'm not concerned about it. It's all going in the same place. And I am going to add the bone broth. I'm just getting the fat out of it. Float it to the top. This will give it good flavor. All right, put that up there so I don't lose it. And we're going to bring this to a boil. All right, let's see what's done next. All right, what we're going to do is bring this to a boil, turn it to simmer, and leave it for 10 minutes. While it's doing that, no lid on it. They want no lid on it. Hold on. The area where you were sitting has all my jars on it. Okay, get rid of these. And we're going to start making meatballs now. Now, if you don't have a slow cooker to make vegetable stocks and you collect your peelings, put them into a big saucepan and boil them for about 2 or 3 hours if you wish, and then strain them and you have your vegetable stock. It's just that I use a slow cooker for 24 hours because I'm usually busy doing other things. I can't tell you how much water according to how much you have in stock that you add to it, okay? You can't do it any other way. So if you have a big pot and you don't want a can but you want stock for the week, collect the peelings and then use those peelings from your vegetables and make your stock for the week. What size do you want these before I go much further? size do you want me to make them? They want tiny meatballs set aside. Okay. You want tiny little meatballs. Okay, we'll make tiny little meatballs. About this size, I guess, which would go with what we have there. About that size. I guess a tablespoon. Anyway, they want small meatballs, so I'm going to continue making meatballs and let that come to a boil. Turn it down to simmer for 10 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, it's been simmering. We're going to start adding the meatballs in. Be careful not to burn yourself. Like I said, I'm going to serve this with a salad. I'm going to have to turn this up because it's going to stop boiling. And I want these to cook. Now the potatoes are not done yet, but by the time the meatballs are cooked, the potatoes that you diced up should be done by then. Oh, come on, you got to get under there. Seems there's a lot in there because they don't want to go under. So be very careful stirring it around. You don't want to break the meatballs up. And this is a complete meal. And I think it's time we add some salt and pepper to this. So let me get it. This is where you adjust the salt and pepper to your taste. All right. What I love about my salt mixtures, you can't always taste it, but you get everything in it, which is really nice. Now, if you use lamb and you're afraid of the fat content, a tablespoon or two of lecithin, when this comes to a boil, will eat the fat up in it and you don't have to worry about straining it or anything. So just letting you know about that. Okay, that's got to sit and cook. They said it's going to be another 20 minutes. So I want to taste it for salt. I really want to taste it. That's good. I need more pepper though. You can taste all the flavoring, it's just that good. Now I added a teaspoon of salt, so I'm not going to be prone to adding more salt. I'm not saying you don't need salt. The kelp is high in iodine and minerals. This is why I like to mix my iodized salt with kelp, because you have trace minerals in it as well. So, for the lady who asked me what I do, and I always recommend this, if you're going to mix your iodized salt with kelp, use 1/4 kelp. I usually make a cup at a time, so I'd say 1/4 cup of kelp to 3/4 salt. When your family gets accustomed to that flavor, you can move it up to a 50-50. Mine is 3/4 kelp, 1/4 salt now. So I've moved up in layer. But I had a husband extremely sensitive to the taste of kelp. So I was a bit at a loss with him. It took me a long time to get my family up to that level. It didn't come easy. And so the first place I used it was literally in making bread and biscuits and stuff like that, where I had other flavors going, so I could disguise it till he got accustomed to it. So this is going to simmer for another 20 minutes, and then this soup is going to be done. Now, what kind of salad am I going to make? The salad is definitely going to have cucumbers and tomatoes, but it's more of a green salad, and I'm going to use the leftover oregano vinaigrette. Vinaigrettes is when you use oil and vinegar. Dressings are when you use sour cream, buttermilk, mayonnaise, and other things like that. All right, now they recommend that we're going to serve this, and I'm going to have to boil some eggs, because they state in this cookbook to sprinkle with parsley and chopped eggs. So I'm going to have to hard boil a couple of eggs, and that's how you serve it. Get some fresh parsley, chop it up, get a couple of eggs, hard boil them, dice them up. When you go to serve this, you sprinkle that over it. And I'm going to be serving mine with the bread that I made, that I showed you, and the salad that I just told you I'm going to make. So listen, you take care, all right? Because that's done except just cooking the meatballs, all right? Bye-bye.